Time now to settle for the details, and regulators of the financial sector say they will decide on planned transfer of ADB shares to new owners after it concludes investigations surrounding the deal. This is what JoyNews has picked up from persons close to the Bank of Ghana. There is more in the following Business Desk report.
According to these regulators, that's the Bank of Ghana and the Securities and Exchange Commission, they have not given any written approval that may allow Unibank to have controlling stake in ADB. Joy Business sources say that they also want to understand under what circumstances were ADB shares transferred to private equity Belstar, which also is planning to transfer to Unibank. They also have wanted to establish whether the required approval was secured at every stage of these transactions. Joy Business understands that the action to give or not to approve this deal would only happen after they conclude the investigations.
More on Business Live, and total amount of money that banks in Ghana fear might not be paid by borrowers has hit a little over 8 billion cedis. This revelation was contained in the latest Bank of Ghana report on developments in the banking sector. There's more in this report.
According to the Bank of Ghana, the stock of non-performing loans went up by almost 40% from 2016 to 8.5 billion cedis in December 2017. The report showed the loans extending to the public sector constituted about 3.2% of the stock of non-performing loans, with the private sector taking up the remaining 94.3%. This could mean that majority of the loans that are going bad went to the private firms instead of the public ones. However, some of these firms have told Joy Business that they took the loans to undertake government contracts and services. So if they have not been able to repay, it is because they have not been paid by government. The central bank in the report added that firms operating in the finance and commerce sector are the highest in terms of loans that will not be paid by one time, followed by the services and mining sectors. The challenge affected credit extension to the private businesses as it dropped significantly from the 2016 figure to 4%, meaning that most of the banks took steps to reduce rates of defaults.
So will this development make it difficult to secure loans from banks this year? That's the question George Refi posed to the Managing Director of EcoBank Ghana, Daniel Saki.
Banks lend money to customers. If they don't pay, it increases the cost of capital for the bank, which means the only way the bank will be able to remain profitable is to increase the interest rate it charges to people. Therefore, a non-performing loan increases cost of capital and increases the cost of loan to the people. The second thing is that non-performing loan, the bank will reduce the aggregate loan that it gives to its customers, which means also a non-performing loan situation makes it impossible for people with ideas to get money to make those ideas into opportunities and profit and wealth creation. To me, the role of financial services in the market is to convert people's savings into loans and generate jobs and wealth for people. When we remember that people that save money with us, they save money with the bank when they can work hard, with the hope and expectation that when they grow old, we'll be able to return the money to them. If we lend the money out to people who cannot repay, then it becomes difficult for us to be able to also deliver the promise on getting the money back to them.
Let's talk about women, because a lot of women in Ghana and across the world today are still struggling to get the right level of salaries compared to their male counterparts in corporate settings. But as we celebrate International Women's Day, we look at this whole gender pay gap problem and how it can be addressed locally. Chief Executive of Charterhouse, Theresa Ayode, believes that disclosing the salary structure at workplaces may help.
It's worrying that that still exists. And I believe that that's why platforms like this exist, to address some of these issues and to have the conversations so that we draw attention to these issues. I think that a woman should definitely be paid her worth. just as a man is paid his worth. And at the end of the day, it is about who is able to deliver the results. And once a woman is able to deliver the results, and sometimes they're even able to deliver higher results, then there should be no question about how to reward them. The rewards should be commensurate with the results.
For you, how do we get around this whole equal pay for everyone, irrespective of your sex, that there are people who would want to do that? And this is not even the retail, these are well-established companies. Recently, Barclays Bank UK came out to confess, and it was documented that apparently they even pay their investment bankers far, far more than their female investment bankers. How do we get around this issue?
I think that it starts first of all from transparency. If there's no transparency in how much a certain level, if it's C level, if it's B level, A level, executives, if there's no transparency on how much this level should be earning, then it gives room for this kind of disparity. But if there's a transparency in terms of at this level, this is the range, or this is the rate of income, then once you get to that level, it should, come to you. But if there's no transparency and it's based on an individual negotiation basis, then there's room for that kind of bias if it's not a law in the organization structure and all of that. So I think that now that a lot of conversations are being held about it, I think that a lot of companies are going to begin to adopt transparency, so that how much people are paid is open and it's clear to everybody, so you know how much is due you. Because at the moment, what happens is that most of the negotiations are done on an individual basis. So you may not know, you may walk out thinking you've struck a good deal, but you may not know what the other person struck. So I think that if those things are harmonized a bit, it would help the situation. And then women should also ask for more.
Let's also hear from the MD for Barclays Bank, Patience Anyano.
I think women need to take responsibility for their own progress, to see real traction and the momentum in the whole change process where gender parity is concerned. You've got to take full ownership. Nobody is responsible for your progress except yourself. And therefore, you've got to find out what it takes to get out there and be willing to make the sacrifices required. And opportunities are opening up all over the place. I was sharing with the team earlier on that many people are coming to me asking me for female board members and asking for specific skills like finance, technology, etc. Women have got to position themselves by acquiring the relevant skills to be able to fully maximize the opportunities that are opening up in recent time for us.
Still on Women's Day celebration, we put a spotlight on Gloria Aluchi Apeto, Senior Maintenance Planner of Newmont Ghana Gold Limited. Now, Ahafu Mines, she is one of the many professionals who is defying the odds to break into a male-dominated field. She shares her thoughts on her journey into the mining industry.
My name is Gloria Aluchi Apeto. I'm a senior maintenance planner, and I've been working with Newmont for the past 8.5 years. A senior maintenance planner role is to make sure there are no breakdowns by carrying out frequent maintenance. It's determination. Even though it's a male-dominated area, it's been fun, it's been challenging, but it makes you grow. Newmont has policies that makes it very convenient for people to work here. Safety comes first in all aspects of Newmont, and I've enjoyed working with Newmont. They have this inclusion and diversity policy whereby anybody, being it male or female, no matter where you come from, you are able to live and work in Newmont safely. I see myself being a manager someday and then be able to mentor young girls as well. So for me, that's what I would want to achieve. Mentor girls and then probably use my role as a manager to influence more girls to be here so that they can also develop and go back to the community and help the community as well.
Well, happy International Women's Day to all women out there. Now, tattoos may look foreign to our culture, but how about temporary artistic tattoos, also known as henna, for that special occasion? As we mark International Women's Day, Fauziatu Adam brings us the story of Hajia Faiza Abubakar, who brings a twist to the tattoo business here in Ghana.
This is a mixture of hair dye, hydrogen and water. The black paste is used to draw patterns on hands and legs for beauty purposes. Commonly used by Muslim brides. Henna, which is a temporal tattoo, traces its roots to Arabs and Indians. Hajia Faiza is a henna designer.
Henna actually originated from the Asian countries, specifically the Arabian countries. It's actually a leaf which is dried and then made into a powdered form, then turned into a paste. Formerly, they used to just apply it, use it as a dye to just change the colors of the hands. And then with time, due to creativity, people started turning it into designs, building patterns and all that. And then with demand too, it's supposed to be a deep brown or burgundy colored paste. But with time, people demanded change in color and stuff like that. So people tried to create different ways to change colors. So currently we have them in brown forms, in black forms, red forms. What we have here is the black one. But then henna is naturally supposed to be brown. The black ones you see on the market are actually used chemically. They are changed chemically, not the natural henna that we know. But then because the name is already here, we all call them henna, henna, henna. Yeah, that's...
Ghana is not the only country that has fallen for the henna craze. The premiere of Nigerian movie Wedding Party 2, which was Arabian themed, featured free henna designs for guests as side attraction. Several celebrities do not let the opportunity pass. And the story is not so different with Ghanaian celebrities.
I've done for a few stars. Stars like Benedicta Gaffa of Kumawood. I've done for Babi Dapa. I've done for Genevieve. Yeah, a few of them. Yeah, mostly they send me messages on Instagram and then I offer home services and go to their houses and do for them.
If you're thinking that the drawings of these patterns do not earn much, think again.
For brides, it's a package. We have spinal, we have waist. For the hands and the feet, that is constant. But then with your neck, your spine, and your waist, that is optional. So it depends on which package they choose. But then it all starts from 150 to 300. 150 to 300, yes. Yes, it's quite lucrative, alhamdulillah. Let's say I get 3 to 4, 5 brides a week.
Like every other business operator, Faiza has had her fair share of challenges.
I've had about 2 or 3 complaints, mostly itching, yeah. And some people react to hydrogen. Hydrogen is part of what makes the powder black. Yeah, and some people who have very sensitive skin seem to react to it. We have alternatives, but unfortunately in Ghana we don't get them unless you order them from Nigeria. Or online on eBay, we have something we call Jaguar henna, which is a berry from Brazil, which is also dried and then turned into a powdered form. But it's difficult to get in Ghana here unless you order it online, and that's a problem we face. I have a friend who is with the health industry who actually recommended a certain ointment for me to give to my customers. So first of all, I ask you if you're very sensitive. If the answer is in the affirmative, I recommend that we do a skin test. That was after I had the 2 complaints. So if we do a skin test and you still react to it, we try to use the ointment to see if it will help you. At times, if we can't help the situation, we just stop. So unless we get our hands on the Brazilian gel, and then it means we can't do it. It's best to stay safe.
All said and done, I finally have my temporary tattoo. That's the henna. done, and this goes for 20 cedis according to the designer. You can see that the business of henna here in Ghana is very lucrative and it's booming. For Joy Business, Fauziya to Adam.
Well, from Kokomlimli studios of Joy News, my name is Aisha Prime. Now, a $20 million fund has been set up to start a global anti-tobacco program dubbed Stopping Tobacco Organization and Product Stop program. The fund, committed by owner of Bloomberg Philanthropies, Michael R. Bloomberg, is the new global watchdog to monitor deceptive tobacco industry tactics and practices that undermine public health. Now, the move is aimed at addressing the current trend, which, according to officials, encourages illicit trade in tobacco in the lower and middle income countries. This was announced at the opening of the 17th World Conference on Tobacco or Health in Cape Town, South Africa. Prince Appiah is taking part in the conference and has sent this report.
Delegates across the world have met in Cape Town, South Africa to deliberate on the economics of the trade of tobacco in the world. Now, it is being organized in Africa for the first time because of how big tobacco companies are milking African countries such as Ghana of billions of dollars through the sale of tobacco products like cigarettes in the value chain. Now, it kick-started this morning with a lot of speakers and officials speaking on how to prevent this illicit trade happening in Africa and the way forward.
The three-day conference began with leadership of the World Health Organization interacting with the media on plans for a tobacco-free world. Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, is worried lower and middle income countries have become targets of the tobacco industry deception moves.
The awareness and the progress is better felt in high-income countries, and the tobacco industry is moving towards low and middle income countries and targeting low and middle income countries as market. And we have to be also targeting those areas that are being targeted by the industry, and that's why it's very important and fitting that our conference or Congress is being done in here.
Global Ambassador for Non-Communicable Diseases for WHO, Michael Bloomberg, announced $20 million in funding support to launch the Stopping Tobacco Organizations and Product Stop project. Mr. Bloomberg, who is the founder of Bloomberg Philanthropies, explains the program will divide resources between robust monitoring, reporting industry behavior, and combating false narratives often created on the ground. He revealed this at a press conference to commence the Global Tobacco Conference in Cape Town.
So we are making progress. What we've got to do is find ways to stop the tobacco companies from giving erroneous information, claiming that cigarettes and other tobacco products, including these vapor things, don't hurt. They do. We've just got to find ways to stop the tobacco companies, and most importantly, to educate people about the dangers of smoking. It is not an accident that the tobacco companies focus most of their advertising today on the poorer parts of the world where the level of education is lower. They want to addict people who don't know the difference, and it's up to us to educate them. And I just want to...
Prince Appiah reporting.
And back here in Ghana, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Emmanuel Kofi Nti, has hinted that tax defaulters that do not take advantage of the tax amnesty will be prosecuted. The tax amnesty program, which was launched last year, was meant to encourage businesses to pay their taxes. Speaking with newsmen, Emmanuel Nti warns that this will be the last amnesty and prosecution will follow soon.
We were minded by that. We wanted to be able to track to people being able to source income and how it's structured. We've been in communication with all those who do haulage in the country. We pick data on that. We pick data on all those who are suppliers, I mean, those within the distributive chain, distributors for the breweries. We have the details. We have the details for all the distributors for the Nestle, Liver Brothers, and the rest. And the issue for us is that we need to demonstrate to the Ghanaians that everybody who is able to access income above certain levels, we have the capacity to know them. And that's what we talked about. And that's what we are going to start doing. And whilst we are rolling out the processes and reaching the people, we are doing this tax amnesty for them to take advantage of the opportunity of the window that we have opened. But unfortunately for you, if we come after you and you heard me say it right, if we are having an interaction with you, tax amnesty does not apply to you. So take advantage and walk to our offices and start the interaction before we start to get to you. And so, I mean, it's a double-edged sort of thing that we are doing. We are going after the defaulters at the same time because now we have information that we are using. And once that, we want them to also come in. And the core issue is that we are about 70 people in the room now. If we open the door and 30 more people come in, we have 100 people. And so the core issue of the tax amnesty is to draw more people into the tax net. And that is what we want to do.
And let's talk insurance now, because some players in the insurance sector are calling on telecommunication firms for support in the quest to provide digitized insurance services. This follows insurance companies' resolve to embrace technology to deliver value-added services to customers. Speaking to Joy Business after a public lecture on the use of digitization to improve insurance penetration, President of Chartered Insurance Institute Ghana, Reverend Asante Mafo Ahenkra, said this would help them withstand growing competition in the financial sector.
The session brought together some players from the insurance and telecommunication sectors of the economy on how digital insurance can improve insurance penetration in Ghana. Speaking to Joy Business after the lecture, convener Reverend Asante Mafo Ahenkra noted that insurance professionals must set standards for the effectiveness of digital insurance to be able to win the trust of policyholders.
When we look into our society today, digitization has come to stay and is permeating every aspect of our society. Now, as insurance people, we also need to sit back and see what the impact it's making on our lives and how it affects our businesses. And so what this lecture sought to do was to give us a platform to discuss and get some experts to speak on the issue so that at our various companies, we begin to give, digitization the right platform and attention in our various companies. So that's the rationale. We are insurance professionals and we are supposed to, as it were, set the standards. And once this is coming in, comes in with these disruptions. So you have to learn how to manage and be able to be successful and still continue to do business.
Chief Executive of KEK Insurance Brokers Africa, Shaibu Ali, allayed any fears associated with the digital insurance system.
The personal insurances aspect, which I spoke about, and I still insist that it is just the personal insurances aspect which is exposed. The commercial lines are not that exposed because everybody in his right senses will still want to deal with a human being who would sit down and then give advice and everything, negotiate, and then arrive at a final conclusion. But that 25% is valuable enough for us to make sure that we don't lose out on it.
Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, Henna, on his part, urged insurance companies to exploit technology.
It's important that the insurance industry realizes that and finds ways in which they are able to embrace the digital technology in being able to design their products, in being able to distribute their products, in being able to collect their claims, in being able to pay claims, in being able to collect their premiums, in being able to design even new products. Because the times that are coming up It's the times of mass customization, where people are going to determine and determine the kind of products they want, and they will have opportunities based on information to be able to compare the products that are available, the prices that are available. How easy is it for them to be able to do that? And they will not want to be able to walk and come to you to be able to do that. They need to be able to take the decisions when they want to take it, where they want to take it, how they want to take it.
Speakers at the lecture include Vice Chair of Vanguard Assurance, Dr. Gideon Amenyedo. Bismarck Awusa's report for Joy Business.
Time now for our interview of the day segment, and we're still staying with the insurance sector, where some insurance brokers are pressing on the National Insurance Commission for the need to provide a minimum limit for injury and death compensations. The Commission earlier expressed its commitment to providing a cap on injury and death compensations for third parties before the end of the year. The cap is expected to serve as a guide for all insurance companies in Ghana for settlement of third-party motor insurance claims. But according to Chief Executive of Keck Reinsurance Brokers Africa, Shaibu Ali, the range is necessary for the industry to ensure that claimants are paid what's their due.
The problem I have with the current situation is that we have unlimited cover for death and injury. However, how much awards do they give? In Ghana, when you die as a result of an accident, they pay peanuts. When you are injured, you rather get more.
What advice would you want to give the NIC as it comes up with this cap? Sorry.
No, for me, NIC they have my support in that. I think that it is spot on, but they should ensure that it is not just a cap, a maximum cap, but a minimum cap below which insurance cannot come. They don't just go and say that for a leg should be 100,000, then people will be paying 5,000.
And that's it for Business Live. More on the business segment tonight on JoyNews Prime. My name is Aisha Prime. Enjoy your evening.